Good morning, everybody. This is the beginning of another day in sunny Boca Raton. Temperature 75. Oof. How nice is that? We don't have to fight the ice and the snow. So, Elon Musk is getting his team in there to change the culture to anybody can talk. And if he has to relocate a few folks, well, we're gonna our headquarters is in Austin, Texas. So if you want to remain in the headquarters job, pack your bags and we'll see you in Austin, Texas. Wish that I'll knock off a few folks because they want to stay. I got background noise here with Fox News. Just keeping my eye on. See over here. Move that up a little bit. See right there. There we go. Aim that sucker right at me. I feel like I'm in the dentist. And this is the X-ray machine. This is a long and very unique microphone that you can get off center quite a bit, and it can still hear you. And of course, if I get away from the microphone, I have this thing. Now I'll show you. I think I'll show you. Let's turn the lights up. You know, you're in a setting like this with all these screens lit up. You really don't need ambient light. But I'm trying to show you I guess it's that camera there. See that? That's a lapel microphone. It's a little miniature condenser microphone that's sitting right there. Picks up the sound in case I get away. See, I can get away from that tuber, and you can hear me just fine. In fact, I can cut that boom mic down even some, because it picks up background noise, like the fans from the computer. Let me see if I can, there we go. Let's put them up to 3750. You want to keep that processor. It's at 151 degrees. Now I just turn that fan up to 3750. And the average of the 8 processors is dropping. Is not dropping. All right, let's put it to 4,000. Right here, 4,000. Bingo. There we go. Now it's going to drop. Okay, got that under control. Somehow or other, the fan system in my MacBook Pro, in dealing, when you update the software program, it turned off the switch to the fans. And I couldn't figure out how to turn the fans on. So I went online and I said, hey, my processor is getting hot. How do I turn on the fans? And bingo. This beautiful program came out for $10. You know, how do you, if you would have an engineer do this, it would cost, probably $150 in a technician's time to put on, put the fans on. I mean, it tells you the speed. You can custom set the speed. Yeah, it's like crazy good. So, anyway, I just put my arrow over here to see those two. And so that that little band that goes across, it's pretty cute. Oh boy. Oh yeah, let's see. Command 1. There you go. See, there's Command 1. And you see the image of the image of the image. That's curious. That can be a little annoying. So, it's this one that's doing that. Huh. I don't like that one. Okay. Very curious. The way I've got this camera angled, when I have that camera on by itself, it does like the image and an image and an image, which is almost the equivalent of a video feedback. When the microphone squeals in the speakers. Because the microphone hears the speakers, and then amplifies it, and the microphone hears the speakers, amplifies it, and then you get bzzz, and it starts to scream with a high frequency thing. So you can't do that. Like with these microphones and things, I can't take my headphones off. If they do, they start screaming. So I have to come over here to, you can't see it anymore, to my soundboard and cut back on. And now you can't hear me. Cut back on both of these so that the microphones are not online. And then, it won't give feedback. Or just unplug the headphones. I got a wire here. I can just, where's the wire? Oh, it's on this side. See, this wire is going right up to the headphones. I can take this thing right here and move this around. You see right there? That's the wire that goes to the headphones. There's the headphones. That's JimmY. Oof. Yep. Pretty scary view. Oh, you want to go this way? Let's get this little tripod here. It's all set up to catch the edge of my laptop. So you can see what's going on. So this is the control panel. How I control this broadcast. It's supposed to be Facebook Live. So go to Facebook. The handle is the @ FAU4U. FAU for you. That's it. Okay. So this guy right here. I'll just leave him on what today is, so you can see that kind of in the background. And then I'm going to work my magic. On this big iPad. And if I come up with something incredible, I can just do that and get incredible fast. But I gotta do some hunting first. So I'm gonna all right. There you go, you can see what, oops. This is what things your pet is trying to tell you. Where is that? How NATO could strike back if Putin uses tactical nuclear. Oosh. That's that's a cruise missile. See this right here? Air goes in here, and it comes through here. And that's, you know, a fan jet, like it's on an airplane, but it's, see, it goes like this, and then like this. And then the air goes out like that, real fast, super fast. The fan probably, turbojet, probably rotates at 25,000 RPM. That's really fast. This donut here is a booster to, this is probably launched off a destroyer, a ship. So, I mean, this wouldn't be shoulder mounted or anything. This thing is, launches out of a big tube. That's, these fins fold in, so this thing fits in a tube. The diameter of this booster to that. And this just works for about 3 seconds. It just gives it that punch to get out of the tube. And then immediately this fan jet is already, you know, up to speed, takes over, and then flies this thing. I don't know how fast cruise missiles fly. I would say, you know, about 500 miles an hour, about the speed of of your typical, you know, aircraft. But 500 or 600 miles an hour, something under the speed of sound. So if Putin goes nuclear, what's next? Well, with Russia's misguided Ukraine invasion now grinding into its 3rd month, worries about a frustrated President Putin using tactical nuclear seems to be rising. I don't know. I don't think so. If he's going to do something, you know, a little more exotic than he's doing. We have a bomb called a fuel air bomb. That's the most powerful weapon we have that's not nuclear. Well, I think the US and Russia have developed separately, secretly, separately, a small version of the fuel air bomb, where it basically, when it's exploding, it has like kerosene in it, and it gets atomized all over a certain dimension of real estate, let's say 4 city blocks. And then the bomb ignites with an explosion, which then ignites all the atomized accelerant, that's the word, AKA jet fuel number 2, or kerosene. And then it creates a vacuum, sucks up all the oxygen, and the shock wave is tremendous. So everything, you know, in a 4-block area is basically incinerated. You know, people just, any biological beasts that breathe just fall, you know, fall to the ground, dead. You know, the shockwave basically scramble. Their capillaries all burst, and it's you know, immediate death. Your heart's, everything's done. Muscles, you know, just become mush because of the shock wave. So, I'm reading for this article. NATO. House cleaning. Let's click this one. Let's see what these people are. If you hire housekeepers. Cleaning services in Boca Raton. Once a month. We had once a month. Now we're every 2 weeks. House cleaning. House cleaning services. Let's click that one. Residential service. 100% satisfaction. Let's do that. I really like the housekeeping every 2 weeks. It's not going. Let's try this one. Nope. All right. That didn't work. We have a 1,500 square foot apartment, and we have a housekeeper. There's 2 ladies that come in. I believe they're from Portugal. Amazing, huh? From Portugal. And I pay them until about 1 to 3, 2 hours, maybe 2 1/4 hours. They start in one bedroom, which is on one side of the unit, and then they go all the way over to the other bedroom unit, and then they come back and work on the living room. And the one lady goes into the kitchen while the other lady is dusting and vacuuming the living room. And I'm sitting in my den, in my little studio set up here. Marilyn is on the other side. Is when I flip this down. All right, let's go over here. You can see that's Marilyn's desk right over there. We both have 22 inches. I put a blue line all the way down the middle. And I have 22 inches, and she's got 22 inches of this 5 foot. I think it's a 5 foot. Let's measure it. I forget. It's my little handy tape measure. I'll stretch it out all the way. Oops. Right to here. How much is that? That's 48 inches to here. 48. 60-inch table. 60 inches here. 5 feet. This doesn't go all the way to 5 feet. Anyway, so we have this big heavy-duty table here. And I got half and she's got half, the other half. So I made this little studio kind of thing. So I can sit here and chat with you guys. Talk about, well, this is just the morning vision of table talk. So I'm just going to go through these. See up here it says, I'll do this. It's right there, it says for you. Okay, I don't know what they're doing about Trump. Anyway, so I'll put that back. See how nice that gets. There we go. Right that way. So here's this story. We think we know why Russia hates the Javelin. See that shoulder mounted, and that booster that runs for about a second and a half. That blasts that thing out of the tube, and then the rocket engine that's attached to this missile. That's probably 3 feet long, and this big around. And with his hand, he's looking into a controller, a screen. He's got his head in a screen. That's probably the size of an iPad mini. And it has, rubberized gaskets, so he can press his head against that. So when this thing takes off, the exhaust fumes go right by him, because he's motivated to keep his head pressed against, this launching system. So then his eyes can see the sighting, because he's marked a spot on a map or something visual in front of him that he has tagged. And that goes into the flight control of the missile. Can you believe it? They can communicate on its way. You know, crazy. That's a javelin. So you gotta be trained on how to deal with the with your hand controls to maneuver the sighting system that's in this whole javelin package, that launch system. So it's all very technical, and you can be trained in a couple hours. Let's open that one in Safari. I like this picture. Bingo. Save image. There we go. GOP loses bid to block the January 6th committee demand for email data. Well, you can demand all you want, but no one's getting anything unless they subpoena it. They're getting email and, Look, it was an advertisement for an exciting event, and the bad guys got some of the advertising, and, some of the bad guys came to Trump's, Capitol event on January 6th. He was actually looking forward to the vice president to not deliver the electoral votes to the House of Representatives, or the Senate, I guess. And, that's why the Constitution has that. It's like the last stop in case something is not right with the election. And there were some issues where there was some ballot stuffing. That just, like he had Pennsylvania. Trump had Pennsylvania. And all of a sudden, bam, 600,000 votes drop in a batch. And put Biden ahead. So that's, by 11 o'clock at night, he seriously had Pennsylvania. And then overnight, 2 or 3 in the morning, all of a sudden, 400,000 ballots drop, 200,000 ballots drop, into the system that was counting votes. You can't count votes after the election. On Tuesday, you go there and you vote. Or you mail them in, and you got to mail them in early enough so they get there by Election Day. And if they come in after Election Day, they, basically get discarded. Because, if I show up to the precinct, tomorrow, when the election day is today, guess what? You're going to find the doors locked. And, liberals say, well, hey, that's a vote that should be counted. You say, yeah, it should be counted. The guy needs to get there, on Tuesday, not Wednesday. So, and that's what they were doing with the mail-in votes. Well, it's a vote that should be counted. No, they should have mailed in their mail-in ballot, a week beforehand to make sure they had plenty of time to arrive at the precinct center. So that's what You know, and that's what most of the state laws say. Each state has their own way of doing things. But you're supposed to, you know, everything needs to be in by, you know, like 8 o'clock local time in each state. That's all. So that's what Trump's done. Jeez. What's going on here? Let's get that. Let's see what this guy's saying. Oops. I gotta see another ad. Damn it. Bloomberg. Let's see, I got 6 seconds more to go. I throw up a few ads. Sorry. Let's. There we go.
Just in terms of how manufacturers are sourcing product, though, are they getting better at it? As you say, this is something that caught a lot of people on the hop. Maybe they got the timing wrong when they passed the prices on. If I can spit those words out. But are they getting better now? They're getting more creative.
I just hold it in my hand.
In terms of being more flexible, in terms of what they put into the business and the prices they're paying for the stuff they're putting into the business as well.
So our investment sectors are really strong. Our capital equipment sectors, computer electronics, machinery, those numbers are really strong.
Okay.
And that's a...
This is what I wanted to hear. I gotta touch that.
For J.D. Vance for the Senate race up in Ohio. In the meantime, we just had a headline cross the Bloomberg that apparently Mr. Trump's been held in contempt of court for failing to respond to subpoenas in a New York State probe up here. So are the Trump, is it too early to call it quits on the Trump endorsements, Rick?
Absolutely not. In fact, I think everybody ought to just buckle their seatbelt because May's the month where a lot of these Trump endorsements are going to land in the ballot box, and we're going to find out whether or not his endorsement makes sense. I mean, J.D. Vance, there's no question his race
today.
is a different race now that he's got.
His primaries are
may be
today.
leading substantially
Today
by
and
some
tomorrow.
polls that are coming out just this weekend. And in Georgia, for instance, Herschel Walker, looks like he's going to run away with the nomination, and that is a complete invention of Donald Trump. So we're going to see the scorecard for the first time on Trump endorsements in May, and it ought to be very interesting and frankly telling for a future presidential run by the former
On this
president.
screen over here, you can see how I'm holding the TV camera.
President Trump has said he's not going to stand in the way of Mr. McCarthy. Is he past that danger? Is there a chance of it being House Speaker if, in fact, the Republicans win? Because last week when we were talking, he had that bad tape that had come out.
For Kevin McCarthy, it was a very bad week in which he was caught, lying essentially about what he had said, and then the tape came out. I thought it was fascinating that the former President Donald Trump told the Wall Street Journal over the weekend when he was asked whether he would support McCarthy for Speaker if Republicans take the House. He was, sort of non-committal, as you can imagine. And, McCarthy really needs Trump's support if he is going to hold that caucus together. My guess is that this tape is not going to matter in 8 months when they vote for Speaker, but I do think it was a very bad week for Kevin McCarthy because it shows that he's saying one thing in private and one thing in public. I was reminded of, John Kerry windsurfing in the 24 campaign, that ad. That's a little bit of what we're seeing about Kevin McCarthy before he even has a chance to run for Speaker. And it doesn't bode well for him. And of course, Speaker is going to be a very tough job with this very big raucous caucus he would have to lead if he's elected.
Rick, is there a danger of the Republicans measuring the drapes a little too soon for their majority in the House? We now have Patrick McHenry saying, okay, I don't want to be the whip. I don't want to be the majority whip. I'm happy to run the Finance Committee. Is there a risk here that they're getting a little ahead of themselves?
Well, I actually think the Patrick McHenry decision to not run for whip is an interesting one because he was kind of a shoo-in for that But maybe it's because of all the problems that are happening in that caucus, as Jeannie said. I do think that Republicans still continue to be in a very favorable position. I kind of take my lead from Elizabeth Warren, which I never thought I'd breathe a day that I would say that. But she just made a round on the Sunday shows saying, basically, Democrats are going to lose. We're in really bad shape, and we got to do something about this. So if Elizabeth Warren says it's so, it must be so.
Okay, that was interesting. Now put that camera back where it's supposed to be. That's good. It's angled so that the square right against the edge. There we go. And of course, this camera's up here. Gives you a full view of what's going on here with my, the only panel you don't see is, you can see this, and then I keep turning. And then here's my soundboard. You see that? Keep that a little on the low side. And then, see, I'm moving back. And I'm rotating this. So you can see my whole little setup here. That's it. There's my coffee. Right here. Hand thingy. My telephone, which I have working. Turn the brightness up just a little bit. There we go. Oops, too much. There you go. That's a good. Escaped inmates. You got stuff going on everywhere. It's amazing. Here's the end of my microphone, which is very sensitive. So it's got these fins back here. Apparently have it's the highest quality wire I got here, which goes up and goes around, and it goes in. This is number 1. I don't have it that loud, not sensitive, because it hears everything from your mouth. So keep that down a little bit. So when I'm all tucked in, let me get this thing back where it belongs. There we go. All right. There we go. Okay. And this is my lapel mic. So this is right here. It's right there. Right. It's pinned with the flag. On my, on this doodad. So that, there we go. You can see it right here. It's very sensitive. So that's number 3 on my soundboard, which you can't see. And it's, yes, you have this sound goes down. I have this roadcaster is amazing. It's got all these features so that if you're not talking, the volume goes down to 0. So you don't hear the background noise of the cats chasing each other all over the place or whatever. Not happening, but anyway, so, all right, let's Tesla beta, what's going on here? Oh, the full service driving will receive more detailed vehicle models in their display. So I had that full service driving. I turned it off. It's not beta, it's alpha. It's amazing that they released it. I think 30,000. I think Musk said when he was yakking to the media, there's 30,000 people that have asked and have taken a driving test, which is a pretty good test. I mean, it is very comprehensive. You know, whether you brake too hard, you run up into the back end of people, even though you may not touch them, but you know, you're always driving like an accident ready to happen. So, you know, those people would not qualify to be the beta testers, and rightly so, because it's not beta, it's alpha. So you better have some, you know, pretty good drivers since you're driving alpha. I'm sure Musk's legal team was having fits. You know, I was CEO of a bank holding company, okay? A company that owns banks, branches. And I was the CEO of a bank holding company, which is regulated by the Federal Reserve. And I had lawyers, a team of lawyers, if you will. You know, one lawyer was good at SEC, one lawyer was good at regulatory affairs. You know, you go through every time you, you know, you talk about a department, you've got, you know, you got some more in the legal team. Yeah, it's crazy. So, anyway, so your legal bills are $200,000 or $300,000 or more a year. Just, you know, with all the baggage involved with, you know, it's just amazing. You gotta have them. They're good guys, you know, guys and boys and girls, you know. And they're looking over your shoulder whatever the hell you're doing. And they make sure that you understand the risks of saying one thing, you know. So, all right, what the heck's this? Message failed to send. What message? Which message? Are you kidding? Yeah. I'm sure sent. This thing I'm looking over here, this Biden is canceling student loans for wealthy and hardworking Americans. How the hell do you know that, you know? So, you know, I had 20 or 30,000 I had $25,000 or $30,000 worth of student loans, from Union College. And it took me like 14 years to pay them off. And, I'd rather have that payment back, have it back in my pocket rather than being spent to pay off my student loans. But Wachovia Bank, if you remember, Wachovia Bank had all the student loans. When the government made them, they were basically the money, JimmY borrowed it, right? So I signed the papers, and then Wachovia Bank basically pays Union College for my tuition and stuff. That was in the college loan program, university loan program back, 30, whatever, how many years ago. 1970, right? 63, 1969. Let's just say 1970. 70, yeah, right. Wow. So that's 45 years ago. Yeah, 45 years ago. And the earliest part of 15 years in that 45-year ago story, I was paying Wachovia off about $25,000 back then. Back in 1963, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, I graduated high school in '63. That'll give you an idea how young I am. So how come they don't pay mine back? What the hell? If they're going to pay back these young whippersnippers that are borrowing money from, it's not just podunk you people. You got people that are graduating, that have graduated or graduating, and as I remember, the college loan program, you didn't start paying until you graduated, and then the meter started. I don't know when the interest rate thing started, but it's $100 a month. 45 years ago, $100 a month. It's probably $500 a month in today's dollars with, you mark that up, it's got to be at least 5 times, bring it in terms of current dollars. Well, $500 a month is a serious payment, which I made. It was automatic debit right out of the checkbook. So I had to make sure that checkbook had enough money in it because that student loan thing was going to hit, Then you got the rent and your electric bill, utilities, and so forth. Well, the student loan was part of that budget package. And so how come I'm not getting mine back? When do they decide? How many years do they go back? And they say, Jimmy, tough luck, buddy. You paid off your loan and the hell with it. These whippersnippers now, we're just going to pay their loans off. Well, what about me? Now, I don't know where the cutoff is on how far back in time they go. How many years from now? They go back 10 years? 10, 20, 30. Well, who the hell decides that? Let's go back 45. Pick up my Wachovia loans. Wachovia Bank has records of all the payments I made. And it's, $20,000, $30,000 worth. Took me a lot of years to pay it. Interest rates were real low. As I remember, they were like, set to be really low. So I didn't really, so even if the interest rates would spike, you know, like they're going to, if the Fed keeps saying they're going to raise them the way they're going to raise them over the next 3 months to quell this inflation thing, so they're basically, you know, they turn up the rates, you know, on the Federal Reserve, and you know, our bank was in the queue to change our rates. It was interesting to watch that. I used to, you know, as a CEO of a bank and a bank holding company, I was CEO of both. Phil Motter, my partner, he was, or I was his partner, better way of putting it, because he put the deal together and then basically hired me, you know, before they even had a bank, when they were just raising, when they were in the raising the money stage. So he talked to his, the people that had already invested. And at this graph was the money coming in. You know, he hired me right in here. You know, within 90 days of when he, you know, chartered the company and started raising money, and started receiving money, he hired me in to help him, you know, run the bank holding company that didn't have a bank yet. So, you know, I basically negotiated the deals, the bank deals that we were working on. And one of them was Florida First International Bank of Hollywood. Can you imagine? Florida First, I think it was something like that. And there was no international about it. I mean, yeah, it was a one-room schoolhouse bank. Beautiful bank, you know, just beautiful. They had, you know, the walnut and the tile and all the, you know, the place looked immaculate, and we made sure it was clean as a whistle. You know, I didn't want in the public areas where people could see. I wanted those people, the tellers, the customer service people, I wanted their desks perfectly clean. Just like you see my little studio here. Not exactly. You know, I got my little, I would allow that. This is Marilyn's, it gets a little dusty. This is Marilyn's little beetle. It's like the love bug, little beetle. So I leave that on my desk. I kind of asked her if I could put it over on this side, so it would show up on my talk shows that I'm doing here. And I'm gonna have my silver dollars, which you've heard. That's pretty good. Every once in a while, I just like to feel them and click them like that when I'm doing nothing. Wow. I'm hearing noises. Anyway, this is the gloves I wear when I go out. You know, part of this germ thing with our germ warfare is the the viruses aren't floating around in the atmosphere. If you get in front of somebody that's coughing, you get in front of somebody that's speaking loudly. So when you're speaking loudly and you're atomizing your saliva, and it goes out into the, so pop. When you say pop, Peter Pepper picked a pack of pickled peppers. So with the P's, those kinds of words, your saliva is aspirated, okay? And it goes flying in the atmosphere. And it goes out about 2.5, 3 feet, and then falls to the ground. And it gets on the ground. And if you're in an air-conditioned area, it all dries out. And those viruses that are microscopic, dry out and disintegrate, basically. They get vacuumed up. So, I had a conversation with my cardiologist. And, you have to kind of like use your head, okay? Now, I have a little advantage because I was a microbiologist being trained as basically a pre-med student. So, in college you took all kinds of classes for, you entering medical school, which is another 4 years. So I had a biology degree, I had a chemistry degree, organic chemistry. So I was a biochemist, graduating, and in like 5.5, 6 years, something like that. Some kids, they go to school, they get their degree as fast as they can, and they're out of there in 4 years. I stayed on another, I have to go back and really think about it, but let's just say another 2 semesters. I graduated with 140, slightly over 140 credit hours. You only need 120. I had 140. So I had 20 more credit hours. So that's like 2 more semesters. Yeah, that's what it is. And so one of the classes I had, we used an electron microscope. And that was back 45 years ago, an electron microscope was about as high a definition device that was reasonably available to the universities. The government may have had some even more higher tech, electron microscopes. So I saw, viruses, under the electron microscope. So you see this little, this little bugger. Yeah, so if it looked like this, it didn't have eyes and ears and all that. Just kidding around, but so let's just pretend this is a virus. So here's the little virus floating around. Well, it didn't have arms and legs, and it didn't have wings. Okay, no arms, no legs, and didn't have wings. So how the heck is this thing floating around in the sky? Like at sea level. I see these people walking around with masks on, in the middle of a park where there's no aspirated saliva anywhere. So how the hell are they going to get the virus? Unless it's on the ground and they're sniffing the ground like a dog. you know, so that's what I was telling, you know, my cardiologist, good man, Dr. Ordonez, basically charted a path for my, bypass surgery 4 years ago, June 5th. This is May 1st. So next month will be my 4-year anniversary of surviving quadruple bypass surgery, which is scary stuff. You know, they slow the heart down to very slow. You know, it's very slow. They basically have their heart in your hand, and on top of your hand is a bag that has, I mean, this is all very scientific stuff, you know. But they put this right underneath your heart. It's like a hand. And there's cold fluid running through that. You know, like running it to like 38 degrees. So that cools the heart down pretty good. And when it gets cool, it slows down. The beating slows way down. It's like an automatic system with the biology of the heart muscles. So that way, the blood veins aren't, you know, doing this. So they can actually, you know, do the arterial grafts that are associated with a bypass, you know, where they're connecting this blood vessel to that blood vessel. And then they sew them together. Well, you can imagine sewing under, you know, you're looking at a microscope and you're sewing this blood vein, and every once in a while it's pulsing. You know, it's pulsing like, you know, 10 times a minute. So every couple, you know, you can like make 2 stitches, and then the muscle, the artery pulses. So you gotta time it with the pulsating muscle, and you're sewing all the way around to put together 2 pipes, you know, to affect the bypass. Anyway, I mean, it's literally bypass. So they basically, when they get that done, they say, okay, let's bring the heart back up to, you know, normal speed. So they put a little pad underneath there and warm it up. Meanwhile, your chest is open like this. Oh, jeez. That's why they wear the mask, though. They don't, when they're talking to each other or breathing or whatever, they don't breathe anything into your chest cavity. Yeah, and they spray it, and yeah, not Lysol. If they spray it with something to clean, so to speak, disinfect with a biologically safe disinfectant to clean up the cavity before they close it up. You know. Anyway, so I'd have been a good heart surgeon. That could have been a specialty I would have taken up. You know, in brain surgery, yes, it was too primitive back then. But heart surgery was something, you know, a lot of people had arteries that were blocked, all the important arteries. So you clip out part of them that are blocked and basically put a pull that out. So can I get a little more? So if this is an artery going to the heart, and this is blocked right here, they put a bypass like that. So they open up a little hole in this artery and they connect the hose. Now remember, they've turned down the pulsing of the heart so they can do the stitching. And they have another hose that goes, they take them out of your leg. When they when they did mine, Dr. Brian Buffet said, I'm going to take them out up here in your, right behind your chest muscles. And we're going to strip out a couple of those arteries because those tubes, those pipes, will survive the bypass, maybe 35 years. So if you're 75, and I was, 75, I was actually 74 in 3 months. Okay, because my birthday's in March, and this surgery was in June, March, April, and June. So I was 74 years old in 3 months. Anyway, so let's just say 75, keep the maths easy. And if they're going to last 35 years, assuming everything else doesn't have a problem, before you have to have these replaced, 75 plus 30, you're 110. Well, 110, that's pretty good. Now, it doesn't mean you drop dead at 110. They just open you back up and they redo these bypasses and maybe clean up a few other problems. So my doctor basically said, let's just say, 95 or so. You should be good until you're 95. I said, well, that's a nice number. When you're 70, 89, you got 25 more years. Hell, 25 more years is, now if you can keep everything else working, and keep your brain working so you don't die of Alzheimer's, and, to me, if you keep active doing things, just wiring up this whole system here, I mean, there's like a million wires behind these devices, and they come up, and I've got them, bound. So it's like a wiring cable, wiring harness is what they call it. And, so it was pretty good stuff. It is pretty good stuff. Let's see. Can I see the wiring harness here? Yep. Let's see if I can get my little camera back in there and just give you a little show. So we come over here and we go in between these two devices. Because we got this device and we got this device. See, we got the inputs and outputs. I have to get up. So I take this little camera and I put it right over and look down here. And here's the wiring harness I'm telling you about. See, I got these microphone cables, power cables. They're going back and forth. Now I got all this stuff covered up. Let's see if I can get this covered up properly with these black napkins. So I don't want the world to see all that wiring crap. That's not very attractive. And I close it up here. See, so that Marilyn doesn't have to look at that. This is put across this way. Everything behind the computer has got black. See, so she doesn't see a lot of garbage. But all the wiring harnesses and stuff are all behind there. How about that? That's one of the reasons I wanted this second camera, because I could show you stuff. I got this one main camera up here that's stuck on a little stand. Let me show you that. So that's the main camera. See, so you can see my hand turning. I'm going right in front of this camera, right there. See, back here, and you can see it. That's the camera. So that's the camera. And then that's the cupboard. Behind here. There's a, like a, if you can see the little tripod. Anyway. So that's the story. I'll get this baby back like that. Here we go. See, now you get the full edge of this computer. That's it right there. There's this thing. If I didn't squeeze in too tight. Apparently I didn't. So, all right. We've had an hour and 13 minutes, which is enough. Tomorrow I'll have more on what's going on with the politics and everything. Today I gave you a backdoor look at the technology I have on this desk. 20 inches worth. Because Marilyn and I share this desk. So this stuff is on my side. I try to keep it as clean as possible. And I showed you, see, I can take this camera, I pull it back a little bit. See, it's not too dirty, I just have a little tape measure here. And when I come across over here, I got a glove and this and that. And then over here, a couple of sets of glasses, 2 pens, my watch is charging. And it's now fully charged. You can see the little circle that shows 100% charged. It connects with this magnetic charging thing. So I'm going to put that on as soon as we go off the air. And there's my little, so that's my iPhone Max high definition television phone, which is connected up now to the Fox News channel. And I have a second iPad that tells me, time and date, what's going on, so I can watch this as I'm on here to see if there's anything here I need to deal with. And I can just flip it right up. And here's my text messages. They're all clear. Robin has something she posted on Facebook. This is a spam. Just delete it. Here, this is a campaign thing. Get rid of that. So we don't have anything else with a blue dot indicating that I need to answer or something. This is my Brian, Dr. Brian. And I share an outlet that gives us 32 amps worth of charging. And this is a screen capture of the last time. There we go. I was charging in spot 265. So I call him Brian.266. The 266 is his parking spot number in our building, and that's where the plug is. And we got all kinds of conversation here about the plug. And when someone parks in the other spot, I take a picture of their tag and their VIN number. That's the VIN number, which I can read if I turn that brightness down. Anyway, so that's Dr. Brian. This is Nicole Jones. She has a car just like mine. A relative, she's my sister-in-law, I think. I have to ask Marion what her official title is, other than Nicole Jones. Here's on April 23rd, I told everybody Trump's in Ohio with this, so every time time something important comes up, this goes out to I got a picture of a gold coin on there, and if I can click on here, and then 12, see it says 12 people, and this is where they are around the United States, and we can list them. They're all there. That's why we need to. You see, you got all these little faces. There's 12 little faces around there. So there's a new Cybertruck. That's a big deal. This is when we did the car show. Here's Jay Leno. Another Trump thing, another Trump thing. Yep, this is Jimmy's birthday. Piece of pumpkin pie. And we can, so that was see, March 20. March 20. This is 6 p.m. on March 20. It's my birthday. First day of spring. Anyway, so this device handles all my text messaging. Here's a news doodad flipboard right there. This is the war thing that's going on in Ukraine. Terrible. So I can click, iPhone, stories about iPhone, stories about Apple, for me, which is a collection of Ron DeSantis, and, I can just, so some of these authors are like nuts. But, you like to read everything, which I try to read everything. And you have to pay attention on who writes and delivers this stuff. Bloomberg is a reputable supplier of information that gets pushed out over the internet. Now, if I hit on that, Bloomberg counts the number of times I hit on it for a month. And once you hit so many, then they want you to pay a subscription fee, It's not too expensive, but if you $5 here and $6 there, it adds up after a while. There's that shoulder-mounted missile thing again. This is the Javelin. So they spot a tank, 5 miles away. This thing will fly over there and blast it. Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, this is high-tech stuff. It's very high-tech stuff. Anyway, so this thing handles all that. Hurricane tracker up here. We don't have any right now. And if I want to find my relatives, there's the Find app. So Daniel's working down in, Coconut Creek, see Coconut Creek. And I can keep zooming in. And he's right there. See, I can turn it this way. That's the building. And you can change the, I mean, this is like, really. So he's just getting to work. See, he's in that parking lot. And he's gonna walk in there. And he works right in there. Amazing, huh? So I can just pull this down and see the way. There's the back of the building. Already got cars lined up coming out of service, going into service. The front of the building. You have to get used to the fact that the roofs aren't so clean. See, all this got solar stuff. See all that? It's all solar panels. So Alexis people, see this? There's Daniel. He's walking in the building now. Isn't that crazy? So he's got his phone. So he's, this is his shift. So he's literally just walking in the building. He works 12 to 8. So he'll work till 8 o'clock tonight. So he's 20 minutes early for his shift. And we can see he's walking in the building. You can see the entryway. This is about as magnified as I can make it. That technology is like unbelievable. And I can do that with every one of my, there's Lee. And he lives in a farm. It's a farmhouse sitting on 40 or 50 acres. Nice house. It's not far from getting on 64. See, it's just south. So I forget where see, here's on and off ramps right there. And then you take these back roads and you get to him. So you can see the different colored plots. He's got this square here. Oops, just zero it in a little bit. So he's 809 miles away. And if I want directions, I just press a button right there. And this gives me the complete directions. And it takes me, what is this, 13 hours and 17 minutes if I got in my car and when I go drive. You drive this way, a little more scenic route is 13 hours and 42 minutes. That's nuts. I mean, measures, what the miles per hour are permitted in certain roads and all that. So I can close down some of this stuff. Public pharmacy. You gotta get rid of that. So, all right, well, now we need to go. So I'm going to come back here. Whoops. Unfold the legs with this handheld camera and place it right here where it belongs. And it lines up, oops, with this edge right here. I mean, that's what I'm doing. Stuff the wire back underneath there. There we go. So it basically sits just like that. Sits like this. Okay, so we're done. It's I've been on here an hour and a half. And it's 11:45. So I'm going to go into the kitchen and see what I can. Oh, I know. I made a whole bunch of spaghetti noodles, and I have spaghetti sauce. I need to package some of that into the freezer. And I have some meatballs. Yep. So I'm going to take some of that hot sauce. It's not, spaghetti sauce. Warm it up. Throw these wonderful meatballs that I've already made. And they're like par cooked. You got to finish them up. And you finish them up in your sauce. You could saute them more, but I just put them right in the sauce. And they're wonderful Italian meatballs. All right, so I'm gonna wrap this up. So I move this little pointer. Can you see it? No, you can't really. You can't see the pointer in the yeah, you can see a little thing moving around. Very small. So I slip right over here. Actually down here. Which goes out of the field of view. And it says finish. So I click finish. And then this says end broadcast, which is what we're going to do. So I wish you all a nice day, and we'll plug in tomorrow.